Have you ever stopped to think if a gold saint, capable of deceiving gods and manipulating dimensions at will, would really accept his end in an explosion in the underworld? Or was it all just another master plan by the greatest strategist of the sanctuary? I'm talking about Kanon of Gemini and his return in the Heaven Saga. Hello, knights and Amazons, welcome to the channel. Always wanted to know, I'm Wes. And in today's video, we're going to look at one of the most explosive theories in the Saint Seiya universe. Today's topic involves redemption, Mount Olympus, and the return of one of the most complex and beloved characters in the entire franchise, Kanon of Gemini. In this video, we're going to explore the real possibility that Kanon of Gemini didn't die in the underworld during the final confrontation against Rhadamanthys of Wyvern. Let's understand how he might reappear in the upcoming Zeus saga, acting as Athena's right-hand man on a suicide mission to the top. What is that? While the goddess desperately tries to spare the lives of Seiya and the other bronze saints. Did you like the topic? So go ahead and click like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and let's get into this awesome video. Always wanted to know. To understand how Kanon can come back, we first need to look at who he is. Kanon is not an ordinary knight. Born under the constellation of Gemini, he carries the karma of duality alongside his twin brother, Saga. While Saga was fighting against his dark side in the sanctuary, Kanon was the embodiment of pure ambition. The story goes that he was imprisoned by his own brother in the prison of Cape Sunion, a place where only the will of the gods allowed survival. It was there, among the punishing tides, that he discovered Poseidon's trident and started the Holy War, which nearly flooded the world. Kanon assumed the identity of the sea dragon Marina general, deceiving the god of the seas for years. This shows the level of this man's intellect. He's not just brute strength, he's living strategy. After being forgiven by Athena, who saved his life several times with her warm cosmos while he was imprisoned, Kanon swore loyalty to the goddess. In the manga, Kanon saves Athena from Poseidon's trident attack, which made Saori and her knights think he had died. But in the Hades saga, he not only returned, but also wore the Gemini gold cloth. He imposed the name of his lineage, defeating several specters with a coldness and efficiency that left Hades' own army terrified. That's why it's our central point. This theory is rooted in the heart of the underworld. Kanon was facing Rhadamanthys of Wyvern, one of the three judges of the underworld, Rhadamanthys, whose celestial star of ferocity gives him superhuman endurance. And the ultimate destructive blow, he was exhausted, but Kanon was also at his limit. Remember, Kanon sent the Gemini armor to his brother Saga, who was at the Wailing Wall. He fought against a judge of the underworld without any protection. The climax was the galactic explosion, where Kanon grabbed Rhadamanthys and soared into the sky, blowing them both up in a trail of stardust. But here's the catch. Kanon is the master of the golden triangle and parallel dimensions. He has survived impossible situations before. The theory suggests that in the last millisecond before total annihilation, Kanon might have activated the golden triangle and projected his body into a dimensional rift. Or maybe the clash of cosmos created a distortion that threw him out of the flow of time and space of the underworld. If the Gold Saints can reach the 8th sense, Warai Ashik, who can guarantee that Kanon didn't use it to move between life and death, waiting for the right moment to return to Earth? Now, imagine the scenario of the Zeus saga. The gods of Olympus, led by the Lord of Thunder, are furious with humans for having defeated Poseidon and Hades. Humanity is being judged, and Athena, our beloved Saori Kido, Athena, is in an impossible position. Saori has changed a lot since the beginning of the series. She is no longer that girl who needed to be rescued. Every 5 minutes, she carries the weight of every drop of blood shed by Seiya, Shiryu, and Yoga Shinriki. She saw these young men suffer permanent damage, lose their loved ones, and even their senses and almost their souls to protect her. In the saga of Zeus, Athena's decision will be drastic. She will forbid the bronze saints from fighting. She wants them to live as normal human beings, to have the peace that was stolen from them since childhood at the Grodd Foundation. But she cannot ascend Olympus alone. She needs a guide, someone who knows the darkness, who can play dirty if necessary, and who is not afraid of the judgment of the gods. This is where Kanon reappears. Imagine Athena walking along the slopes of Mount Olympus, surrounded by angelic warriors and the overwhelming pressure of the god's cosmos. Suddenly, a galactic explosion opens up. Explosion. And he wouldn't return as a knight seeking glory, but as someone who does Athena's dirty work. Kanon knows the gods. He lived with the god of the seas in Poseidon's realm. He knows how they think. He knows their arrogance. His mission would be to escort Saori through the celestial temples, facing the greater gods. While the Bronze Saints are, for the first time, or at least at the beginning of the saga, off the battlefield, this dynamic would be fantastic. We would have Kanon acting as a lone protector with his position as a gold saint. And you might ask why it should be Kanon, who's practically coming back from the dead to help Athena. Why not Saga or Shaka? Well, Shaka is very connected to the spiritual plane and to Buddhism. He accepts his destiny. Saga already had his moment of ultimate redemption at the Wailing Wall, and even at the end of the 12 Houses saga. As for Kanon, he was always the survivor. He's the man who defies destiny. Besides, the relationship between Athena and Kanon is based on a debt of blood and soul. It was her cosmos that kept him alive at Cape Sunyon when he was a villain. It makes perfect poetic sense that he's the only one by her side when she decides to face her father, Zeus, to save humanity. In this saga, we can expect epic confrontations. Kanon against intermediate-level gods, showing that human power, when refined by repentance, can challenge character development. We would see a wiser Kanon, but still keeping his characteristic sarcasm and the boldness of someone who has already ruled the seven seas, protecting Athena. We would see a deep interaction between creator and creature, where Kanon's sin is finally transmuted into absolute protection for the goddess. If this theory comes true, the saga of Zeus will not just be a battle of power, but a battle of ideals. Athena trying to save her bronze saints, while the man who once tried to destroy the world becomes her only and most loyal shield. Kanon of Gemini alive is not just a fan's wish. It's a powerful narrative piece that would give the Zeus saga an emotional layer of complexity that the franchise deserves. After all, in Saint Seiya, the stars may fall, but the shine of a determined knight never truly fades away. In two official spin-offs of Knights of the Zodiac, we have two completely different futures for Kanon. After the Hades saga in the Rise of Poseidon saga, he actually died in the fight against Rhadamanthys, but was temporarily resurrected by Hades to help Poseidon fight against Nemesis. And in the Assassin episode saga, Kanon actually survived the fight against Rhadamanthys and later became the Grand Master of Athena's sanctuary. So, what do you think? Did Kanon really die in the explosion against Rhadamanthys? Or is he just waiting for Athena's call in the rifts of the universe? Comment your opinion down below because I want to know if you also believe that the Sea Dragon, or rather Gemini, still has one last trick up his sleeve. Thanks for watching until the end. See you next time. Burn your cosmos to infinity.